The German Emperor Michael Kaiser. One of the best characters to come out of the Neo-Egoist League, despite him being a player who I honestly hated at the beginning. To me, he was just too similar to Ren and Baro in his edginess and cockiness. Even his ultimate weapon, which is his insane shot, kinda resembles Ren and Baro, who both had insane shots. And I know the Kaiser impact is the best, but still, the comparison was there. However, I honestly believe that this hatred was on me. For some reason, I thought one of the most important characters in the best arc in Blue Lock would be this trivial, and for that, I deeply apologize to Kaiser, as the seeds for him causing Isagi to have the biggest evolution yet were there from the beginning. However, for some reason I could not see them. And by the way, I'm not talking about metavision here. As you will see in this video, Kaiser caused Isagi to evolve way beyond just metavision. It's actually insane how much he caused Isagi to improve. However, let's get back to Kaiser for a second. You see, as I said, I really hated him and wrote him off as really being a bad character. And obviously this is on me, as nothing really prepared me for his awakening. You see, I always said Kaiser has a weak mind, and it is his ultimate downfall. And I was correct on that. Him running away from Prince and Lorenzo because he fears to lose, and him always trying to crush players before they reach their full potential. And honestly, it was great that I noticed this, because it was intended from the writer. As you see, he made him that way for a reason. Mr. Kanshiro made Kaiser that way so he can turn this honestly boring and predictable villain into the best antagonist of the story. Yes, even better than Ren. And honestly man, that awakening was satisfying. From the backstory to the reasons why Kaiser is the way he is, and to explain even why he was antagonizing Isagi. Simply because to Kaiser, any newcomer is a threat, and as I said, because he fears to lose what he gained, and he fears to become the trash that he was, Kaiser does everything so he can crush any newcomers. But ironically, that's the beauty of it. Because Isagi is the adaptability demon, this actually ended up helping Isagi more than hurt him. And in fact, because Isagi again is the adaptability demon, it actually ended up changing Kaiser himself. Because Isagi did not just crumble, he actually made Kaiser realize the flaws of his mentality and push the latter to one of the best awakenings in the show. And honestly, this is just too good, man. It actually made Blue Lock so enjoyable that I can say with confidence the rivalry between Kaiser and Isagi is the best in the show, no questions asked. However, let's take that journey. Let's take a deeper dive on how Kaiser changed Isagi forever. Which ironically starts even before Isagi met our beloved Rose. You see, Isagi was always a great striker, but mostly he always reacted to other geniuses and not really create his own originality. In a sense, he never had a roadmap towards scoring. Sure, he had plans for certain games after he analyzed the situation, his enemies and allies, like he did with Aiko, Sai and Rin in the U20 game, Shido and Rin in the third selection, Baro in the second selection and so on. But Isagi never had a clear-cut path towards victory that isn't case specific, and that was until he met the Blue Rose. You see, despite everyone not being impressed at first by Kaiser due to him relying on Ness, Isagi's intuition told him that Kaiser's movements are very special. For some reason, Kaiser seemed to be moving like Isagi does, albeit he is doing it cleaner and more efficiently. And I mean, he is faster, but something seems off. Usually this level he is seeing takes a huge amount of energy and attention to pull off on certain specific moments for Isagi. However, Kaiser is making it seem so effortless. But here, Isagi actually did not think much of it, and that was until he saw Noah play. Isagi was not able to even begin to comprehend how Noah was moving the way he does. Yet, there was Kaiser matching him with no problem. I mean, Ness is doing it too, but he is staying behind and only passing. Kaiser, on the other hand, is actually on Noah's playing level. He is obviously no match, but at least he is keeping up. And there it hit our favorite adaptability demon. If he can't understand Noah, but he can understand Kaiser, and at the same time the latter is keeping up with Noah, this means Kaiser is Isagi's ticket to reaching Noah and the pros level. And this is what this video is all about. How Kaiser gave birth to the Demon King. And again, the beauty of it is the fact that it didn't happen all at once. Each time Isagi thought he reached Michael Kaiser, the latter showed such a high level that is multi-layered and very nuance heavy. And I mean, this is to be expected because Kaiser is a talented learner. However, if you think about it, this is exactly why Kaiser was the perfect candidate. You see, insane off-the-ball movements that result in high scoring chances aren't new to Isagi. I mean, he played and witnessed Shido play a lot, but as you all know, the latter is a genius and does everything instinctively and impulsively. And Isagi, despite seeing him so many times, he had no way of copying Shido's impulse. Unlike, on the other hand, Kaiser, who had a laid out very logical roadmap towards the goal. First, it starts with his off-the-ball movements, which Isagi could tell that they are the same as his, albeit just refined. Unlike Shido, who was doing it impulsively, Kaiser actually thinks of where he wants to be. And now that Isagi noticed this, his job became to know why Kaiser's movements are so refined. And while Isagi actually was keeping up but never really understanding, he kept this on his mind until Kaiser showed another level to his movements. For some reason, he went to a spot no one thought of, and there he met Nagi and stopped him. And this honestly infuriated Isagi. Why is Kaiser there? So he did what Isagi always does, and he began to watch his next prey. And there it was, metavision in all of its glory. Isagi's second strongest weapon after his adaptability. The way Kaiser moved, the way Kaiser did everything, it seemed that Kaiser was seeing everything at the same time. And in fact, he actually was doing exactly that. And as Isagi put it, a Big Bang theory sprout out in his brain. Because the latter has one of the biggest minds in Blue Lock, and because he has an exceptional footwork, if he copies this new weapon employed by Kaiser, it might actually work for him as well. And he actually did. And here I want to talk about the genius of Isagi. I know he is a talented learner, but man, you can't tell me he is not a genius. He is able to adapt very complex weapons like metavision instantly, and I know he always had the spatial awareness for it, but I mean, come on. He pushed himself to the point of crashing out after the game. This means he was dashing out such a high level that it honestly is insane for any other player to even comprehend. And for that reason, I think Isagi has traits of being a genius as well. However, that's not the subject of our video today. You see, once he acquired metavision, Isagi was shown to meet Kaiser in the most optimal spot. Meaning right now, Isagi finally reached Kaiser in terms of playing level. And I know at this point he was not on the same level as Kaiser, but he was in the same league. However, there is a huge problem here. You see, just matching Kaiser in the most optimal way can never really beat him. Because first, in every other aspect, Kaiser is superior to Isagi. He is faster, has a better shot, stronger physically, and everything like that. But also, Kaiser will forever be in his way. Unlike Isagi, who is only focused on his goal and won't really try to stop Kaiser, the latter has a very toxic mentality and lives to crush Isagi. And this was the whole premise of the Menshine City game after Isagi got metavision. Despite him reaching a new level, he could not beat Kaiser with a goal, something he did not find the answer to until the next game. And I'm not talking about Isagi's first goal because honestly Kaiser was locked off by Lorenzo. I'm talking about the final goal. You see, in addition to Aiko, Baro, and somewhat Nico, who can all see the perfect spot, Kaiser too was still being a meddler in what Isagi is doing. In fact, after Aiko, he was the most annoying player for Isagi. However, again, and because he is the adaptability demon, this pushed Isagi to think of the next evolution to the optimal play the metavision enables, which is a shared optimal play with someone like Hiyori who also has metavision. And by the way, I know hindsight is a bitch, but honestly this feels as the most natural evolution way to metavision. And I kinda feel dumb for not thinking about it until we saw it with Hiyori and Isagi. In any case, however, Isagi wouldn't have attained this new level if Kaiser wasn't with that tenacity, because if he gave Isagi any leeway, the latter would have dominated and thus he would not have improved. However, this actually brings a very important point regarding Kaiser's mentality, and why he had the perfect tenacity for our little adaptability demon. You see, Kaiser wasn't just the perfect candidate for Isagi to learn from him due to him being a talented learner. He also had the perfect personality. Unlike Baro, Rin, or anyone else who Isagi trying to learn from, Kaiser obviously had the tenacity to keep feeding the adaptability demon. However, because he was playful, he also gave Isagi the space he needed to reach him. And this is actually the perfect mixture for Isagi's adaptability. Insane tenacity but also insane freedom. And again, because we understand the ego types, it really fits with Isagi's optimal play. And honestly, this is just mind-boggling to me. The level of depth in this storytelling is just insane. Mr. Kanshiro has to be one of the best writers of recent history. In any case, this whole personality worked until the PXG game, where Kaiser actually dropped it because he kept losing to Isagi, Lorenzo and Ren. And there, by doing so, Kaiser once more was just the perfect man for this. This evolution of his was the next stage for the talented learner. You see, after his first goal in the PXG game, Isagi got very comfortable with his new playing style. He is showing results and he is being the striker he wanted to be. But when he was put to the ultimate test, in a Royal Rumble amongst geniuses that were actually on the top of their game, his ideals got crushed completely, as he seemed to lack even the basics of being able to react to them. But again, much like in the Barsha game, there he was. Or I should say, there Kaiser was. Despite struggling the same as Isagi because he is a talented learner, he was actually performing far better than the latter. And again, because he witnessed what Kaiser was doing, Isagi came up with the ultimate theory that could defeat the geniuses. But hold on a second, what did Isagi actually notice? If Kaiser is the same as him, yet he is able to reach this level, what is the difference that is giving Kaiser the edge? Well, Isagi came up with the perfect explanation. And FYI, I know Noah helped in this by telling him I don't feel anything from you, but this video is about Kaiser and Isagi. You see, once you perfect your playing style as a talented learner, what is left is actually mentality. Much like Kaiser shed his fixations and threw away every emotion he had, so should Isagi do in order to reach this new high level. And so, our protagonist says goodbye to his love for Noah, rivalry for Kaiser and Rin, and everything that is not leading him towards the goal as he ushers a new era. The era of the Demon King, an architect who controls and pushes everyone on his team towards victory. That's the way a talented learner can fight geniuses, by controlling the field with his brain. Much like how Kaiser seemed to be everywhere after his awakening, so is Isagi right now. And in fact, they reached a point where their beef no longer matters. All they care about is to do their job as strikers and win. Or should I say, do their job and lead their teams towards victory. And in doing so, they caused even other geniuses on their teams, like Ness and Yukimiya, to awaken with them. And honestly, it's just beautiful. The way Kaiser took Isagi from this half-baked, only getting by a threat type of a player and a striker, to an absolute menace on the field, ready to take the world by a storm. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video as much as I enjoyed making it, because honestly this is one of the best things in Blue Lock for me right now, and the reason why Isagi and Kaiser lately became one of my favorite characters ever. However, that's all I've got for you today, guys, and until next time, thank you for watching.